Well, Sharon, Micah, these parents tell me that they have no trouble with their son learning the history about any religion. It's when the school starts teaching him the faith.
The audacity of this school to think they can sit these children down and teach them whatever religion they please. It's preposterous.
Some Manhattan Beach Middle School parents feel the school has crossed the line. They say they recently discovered their son's homework assignments on Islam were more about actually learning the faith than the history. One question asked him to write down teachings from the Quran.
What I saw written in these bubbles was the one true God, Allah, in one of the bubbles, and one of the other bubbles was all people must submit to Allah in another bubble. Now I turn the page over and I see the 5 pillars of Islam.
One of the 5 pillars he had to learn.
Shahada is the testimony of a faithful Muslim that Allah is the one true God.
It shouldn't be presented to them. They shouldn't be asked to know this.
They say the students should be taught the history behind religions, be it Judaism, Buddhism, Christianity, etc., just not the actual faith.
Can you imagine the outcry all over this country if children were bringing home paperwork that asked them to write down John 3:16 or asked them to write down the 10 Commandments?
And if it ended with the declaration of faith, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, that's what the equivalent. I mean, part of us, for our son, yeah, we'd be happy about that. But we understand,
But
we're
some
fair.
other parents may
right,
not
we're
be.
reasonable people. We understand that doesn't belong in the school, in a public school.
And these parents tell me that they have met with the principal, but because nothing, at least in the near future, is going to change, they are going to pull their son out of that class. Now, we have also reached out to the school and left them a message, but at this point haven't heard back yet. For now, reporting live in Manhattan Beach, Mary Beth McDade.
There is no God but God. Muhammad is the messenger of God.
Ron Wagner is not reading the 5 pillars of Islam from the Quran, but rather his son's 10th grade world history book from Lyman High School.
22 students were instructed to recite this prayer off of the board at the teacher's instruction.
Wagner, who says he's not religious, says he had no idea the public school was teaching so extensively about religion until he spotted this text on his son's phone, a reminder from his teacher to complete a prayer rug assignment and study an Islam packet.
For it to be mandatory and part of the curriculum and in the textbooks didn't seem right.
Inside, a chapter dedicated to the rise of Islam, including prayers and scriptures from the Quran. What's more disturbing for Wagner, the first 100 pages discussing Judaism and Christianity are missing. The district blames a manufacturer defect in 68 books that are only a year old. Dr. Michael Blazowitz oversees the high school curriculum.
The pillars of Islam are benchmarks in the state curriculum.
Wagner's concerns prompted a district investigation. It found the teacher never tried to indoctrinate or convert the students. But Blazowitz got frustrated and stormed out when we asked whether the district is considering changes to the curriculum.
So you're just going to walk away from our interview?
Before Blazowitz walked out, he further justified the curriculum, saying students learn specifics on Judaism doctrine, the Bible and its scriptures in earlier school years.
If anything, it's a little imbalanced towards Christianity and towards Judaism.
Federal law allows schools to teach about religion because it's part of history, but public schools may not teach religion.
There's a difference between teaching of the significance or the impact of a religion and teaching the specific tenets of a religion.
All or nothing. Dozens of parents in Puyallup say if one organization is allowed to teach religion in their children's classroom, all religions should be represented. KOMO 4's John DeCepolo is live in Puyallup to explain. John?
Mary, good evening. The Puyallup School District was presented with a request by a national organization to teach young students about Islam and the Muslim religion as a way to ease fears and educate students. But at a town hall meeting tonight, the message by parents was crystal clear. They don't want any part of religion being taught in public schools.
You know, Muslims are welcome here, but if you're going to be here, you get in line, you become American first.
Lisa Hedger is frustrated. As a parent, she doesn't want any part of the Muslim religion being taught in her daughter's public school.
And I actually told my child's teacher that she was not going to write this particular.
She says religion has a time and place, and school is not it.
How did you feel Sunday at 9/11? I mean, I spent the whole day in tears, and it's been 10 years, and I didn't think I'd feel that way.
A request for special accommodations for Muslim children during Ramadan and other holidays was made to the Puyallup School District by an organization called CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations. Here's where some say it gets controversial. The group also wants to come into schools and speak to children and teach them about Islam.
We've seen a rise in bullying against Muslim students, and so our goal is that with some education, with the right accommodations, students will be safer in their schools.
But that safety is being questioned by many, including members of Pierce County ACT, an organization dedicated to concerned citizens and parents who feel CARE has ulterior motives.
We don't think that it's fair that Islam gets a pass and the other religions don't, but also because CARE is a front for the Muslim Brotherhood. We have a real problem with organizations with ties to terrorism that come into the public schools.
Tonight, most parents at the town hall agreed on keeping religion out of school and keeping the focus where it should be, on education.
Welcome back. You would be surprised to learn that the most commonly used textbooks in schools are being used as tools for propaganda. We have been sounding the alarm on the Fox News channel on the historical distortions, but even religion is subject to misrepresentation. Lauren Green is Fox News' religion correspondent. And Lauren, good morning to you. We've been talking with Larry Schweikert from out at Dayton University about the trouble with textbooks. And now you bring a report that in some of the biggest textbooks that our children are using, there are hundreds of mistakes regarding Christianity.
Absolutely, and don't even think this is something that's in somebody else's backyard, because it's 500 examples of errors or flaws or distortions in these textbooks, and they're used in every state of the union, all 50 states. What we're seeing is that there are there's a disparaging sort of distortions about Christianity and Judaism particularly, as opposed to Islam being held up to a nicer light.
Well, what's that about?
Example, very good examples in world history continuity and change. The 10 Commandments, I think we can look, we have an example graphic.
We got a graphic.
10 Commandments, they're the moral laws Moses claimed to have received from the Hebrew God Yahweh on Mount Sinai.
Right.
Now, that sounds actually okay, right?
Well,
in a textbook, in a public school textbook, that's the way it should be. Now,
that's
in
false?
that same book, no, that's what it says. Is the Quran, the holy book of Islam, is containing revelations received by Muhammad from God. What we've got here is, in Judaism, they have a qualifier, claimed. But in Islam, there's no qualifier. It's as if they're saying, Islam is true, but Judaism, well, they claim this is true. And not only that, they look at it as the Hebrew God, Yahweh, not God. For the Quran, they say it is God.
Oh, that's interesting. That is an interesting distinction. As is the case with the trouble with textbooks, we like to tell you who the publisher is. Michael Lavelle is the publisher of K-12 books at Houghton Mifflin Harcourt in Boston, Massachusetts. And there you see the phone number right there. Now, there's another book, The World.
The World,
and it has, in the chapter review quiz from the Teacher's Edition, there's a true or false.
This is very interesting. This is a true or false question. Christianity was started by a young Palestinian named Jesus. Expected answer?
A young Palestinian.
You get it right away, don't you?
Because he was Jewish. He was
Jewish. He was a Jewish rabbi. Not only that, he preached in Galilee and Judea, not province of Palestine. This is not Palestine. This is
right. So that's how this textbook used by millions of kids, is calling Jesus a Palestinian rather than...
Exactly. It's almost taking a 21st century modern worldview and attaching it onto Christianity and Judaism. And forgetting about Jesus' Jewish roots, or that he was Jewish, or that his followers were Jewish, or that everybody around him was Jewish. He was a Palestinian who started Christianity.
That is interesting, and that proves your bigger point. As for this textbook, the publisher is Will Etheridge, the CEO of Pearson Education. They're located in Upper Saddle River, New Jersey. You want to call them, 201-236-7000.
This is very interesting because these textbooks, 75% of them are published by only 3 publishers.
That is amazing. And I saw one of the other facts that 500 errors.
500 errors or distortions or flaws. And remember, children can't tell the subtleties.
It's a textbook. It's supposed to be true.
And so if they say is, that means it's true. If they say claim, that means well. Those people just claim it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Always great to see you.
Parents are understandably becoming frantic because Islamic indoctrination is creeping farther and farther into the public school system, and students are being forced to learn about Islam and Muhammad. All over America, as parents go over homework with their children, it's becoming apparent that the United States public school system curriculum has been hijacked by the pro-Muslim Common Core platform with apparent sickening results. Children are being forced to say the Shahada and forced to learn the 5 pillars of Islam. When Muslims force Christians to convert, they're forced to say the Shahada, which is the Muslim declaration of faith, which is also the Arabic writing on the black flag of jihad, the Al-Qaeda flag or the ISIS flag. That is the Shahada. It's the chant of supremacism and imperialism, and it's being forced on our children. This is a picture of the work assignments one mother took of her child's school assignment. She took this picture, and it's very disturbing that Islam is being slipped into the public school system. According to her story, she says, about a month ago, my daughter asked for my help with her homework. She's in the 7th grade and usually doesn't ask me for help. She gave me her vocabulary words for social studies and simply asked me to type it for her. She said, I started typing the first few words and then I came to Quran, mosque, alms, caliph, jihad, Sunnis, Shiites. I instantly became alarmed and asked to see her social studies book. My husband and I spent the next 3 hours reading through her book, and I have to tell you that my life changed on that day. She said, I kept my daughter home from school for the next 2 days and met with the principal. I attended my daughter's class when she went back to school. Her assignments continued. Draw detailed pictures of the 5 pillars of Islam and write a word collage of all that is good with Islam. We met with the teacher and principal together and questioned the curriculum, which is what any parent should do, learning upon something as disturbing as this in their school. She went on to say, we received the party line responses of state standards and quote-unquote Common Core for every question we had. I was concerned with the nature of the material that was being taught in the classroom and whether it was being presented in a truthful manner and that all aspects were told. This was not happening. Simply from viewing the table of contents, one can see that Islam is the dominant religious focus throughout the book. I was amazed upon further review of the book how they were able to slip Muslims into China and how Spain is only referred to as Muslim Spain. The chapter on West African civilization contains the growth of Islam in West Africa. The teacher explained to me that they had discussed Christianity in the first 2 chapters, but when I reviewed them personally, I found that Jesus was mentioned once as a Jewish prophet in the first chapter, and the second chapter briefly discussed the division within the Christian church. Chapter 3 is dedicated completely to Islam and the story of Muhammad, with multiple quotes from the Quran throughout the chapter. The book even goes on to say that Muhammad revealed the purest version of God's truth, and that Muhammad is the final prophet of God's truth, with the most complete version of that truth. Now the rest of this story can be read on PamelaGeller.com, and we strongly urge all parents to go through all of your kids' school assignments to see how much of this Islamic indoctrination is present in their curriculums. And if it is, start making phone calls. You need to start writing letters, start meeting with the teachers and the principals. We need to do as much as we can to push back this Islamic indoctrination creeping into our children's school curriculums. This has been Lady Bo with Truth Hurts News 7.